Okay, Mark, let's start reviewing these videos we took the other day. And we can see that your right arm is currently going straight the way down. You're breathing to the left. Your left arm's trying to grab the water more, but until that position, you're not really holding any water at all. These are from the first sort of swims we did. This is actually the third video we took. Now, because you're driving this arm down, the timing is poor. So your arm's coming over and you're very unbalanced. And it's that balance that we've really got to try and work on. In this video here, we're slightly closer to you, and you can see that arm's driving down. You saw that big wiggle in the left arm as you take it right near the bottom. Here we go. It's going to start wiggling now. You see it's turning toward the outside, then turns back inside, and tries to sweep through under your body. And the reason is you haven't got that 90-degree bend that's coming under your body, but it's also because this arm should not have moved until this arm, the left arm, was virtually into the water. So this arm should have been on the surface, and as you turned back to get level after you've breathed, that's when this arm should have grabbed the water and started moving through. It's a much better position for you to be able to do that. You can also see here that because this arm's way back and this arm's way forward, you're twisting your body to try and get a good position. You can see that knees out of line with the major part of your body, and that's what we started working on late on when we started doing the drills and the kicking yesterday, which we'll go into slightly shortly. This particular video takes you swimming down the lane ropes as far away as we could get, and it's quite good at describing the sideways view. Now from here you can see lots of bubbles around the hand, and you're instantly driving that down. We've really got to slow that so that you wait until this arm, in fact if at this point your other arm were entering, you'd be able to turn your elbow up and make that nice bend in the arm, that reach over the barrel curve that will enable you to catch the water really well. So it's at that point that the other arm should be entering, but it's actually up here. The other arm's still up there, which doesn't really work for you because this arm's still driving down and pushing you up. At this point you can see you've got that wiggle coming in, and you've grabbed the water, and suddenly you've got a lot of water on your arm, but there's only a little amount of pushing you can do, and most of that's going upwards, and you can see your arm is slanted, and that is not the best position you could potentially be in. Right, we're going to look at two things from this video from above, and the first is the position of your arms in relation to each other. Now you notice that one is driving in whilst this one is virtually finishing, and as that one drives up, the other one drives down. You can see that your hand that we can see is just disappearing from your head there, which means that your arms are trying to replicate what they're doing above and below your body. But we actually have to separate our arms. Remember, the water is 1,000 times denser than air, so you can move your hand through air a hell of a lot quicker than you can through water, and your arm at this point should still be on the surface of the water, completely on the surface. Even if you had to hold it there still for up to a second, it wouldn't matter. And as this hand comes past your shoulder, which it's starting to do now, that's when you should actually start moving to the catch position with your right arm as you're breathing to the left. You can see a slight curve in your body there because you're having to try and get out of the way of this arm, and you actually can't because you hadn't waited with this arm on the surface until you were able to rotate your body out of its way. So you're having to curve your body to try and get out of its way. And again with the other side, you're again coming back here, you're trying to curve, but the body's having to curve to compensate for it. So you're trying to rotate your hips out of the way, but it's not quite fast enough because the other hand hadn't got in the way. What you need is to rotate with the arm on the surface, and obviously there you've got a perfect position to push your arm backwards if it was coming through under your body. Now this is going to become a key drill for you to practice, and it's kicking on your side, rotating your head to breathe. Now you'll notice that your shoulders are at that 45-degree angles. We went through this after the session, and what we really want to see is your shoulders stay pointing upwards and downwards, and your head comes back to look over that shoulder and slightly forward as you come back. Now, in this particular video, it's not bad because you're not raising your head out of the water. Notice your leg position didn't change at all. So that's a pretty good start to what we're doing. And obviously then we changed it to changing sides every 8. That's what we'll concentrate on to try and get your positioning and rotation right. Okay, here so we're looking at one of the first efforts you did at single arm with kickboard, and you're very much looking on your side to stay on your side the whole way through. And what we really want is reaching forward and rotating to the opposite side, and then back and through and rotating to get your hips out of the way, and then you can breathe. Then as you come forward, you rotate to the opposite side. So that one's not particularly effective, but it was one of your first efforts. And as we go further through, we do actually get better and better. So now you're trying to hold the water a bit with that arm, but we still need, really, when you get in the water, the rotation to the other side has to be complete. So your hips should be rotated to the other side before you move that hand from the surface. And when you move the hand from the surface, you should actually keep the elbow there. Go through again with one more stroke. So you need to keep the elbow there on the surface, and your forearm and hand should be pointed down to the bottom once you've rotated your hips completely to the opposite side. Look at the way coming back. That's the one coming back. You're trying to grab the water, so we've seen a good improvement, except you're still swimming slightly on your side. And obviously what we want to see is much more rotation, but all the drills and things we do will help your rotation over the time we've got. And also, if you notice, this hand is pushing far less down than it was when you started doing these drills. It went down there, but you're being much more level with the surface of the water as you start to swim more and more. With the catch up to kickboard drill, you really need to give yourself time to actually come off the side of the kickboard and point that hand down, keeping the elbow high. This isn't a bad effort, but over time you will actually learn how to grab the water. With that hand it's much better, obviously. Your left side is how you want to breathe, and you are left-handed. You can see you're really thinking about it, and that's a big change from when you started. You're really thinking about grabbing that water. And you've got to slow that front end down with drills like this so that you can do that in your natural swimming. This is the last video we'll be reviewing in this particular set. Let's again catch up to kickboard. But you're actually getting a really nice position in the water there, and you can tell you are. And you're thinking about holding that water in your hand. Slight issue with your breathing. What you want to do, and we can see you breathing here, you can see you breathing out. We'd like to be slightly more explosive as you go to the back of the stroke. I'll try and take it here a little bit. You can see you're breathing out through your nose. Now you've turned to breathe here, and really we want you not to turn at all to breathe until your hand gets to your hip. That's the position just there where you should have thought about turning to breathe, because that's where you should be on your side. You shouldn't be on your side before that. If you're on your side before that, then all you do is you slip water off your hand and you drive down the side of your body. It's a fairly weak position. So we'll have to just delay that in a timing sense, and we saw that timing in other videos as well. But as a start, this is pretty good, and there's lots to work on.